All right, welcome back to the Elias Macko Show. Just one little note here, news coming in from Washington, D.C. about the inauguration on Monday. Now, we're going to have full coverage, by the way, on CJAD. In fact, it'll start at 11:30. Vashi Capellos will lead us through full live coverage of the inauguration of Donald Trump. Now, here's the news that's just coming in, and that is officials are going to be, looks like that the inauguration will be moved indoors. I just want to point this out. Looking at the weather in this city, on Monday in Montreal, it's going to be minus 16 as a high. Now, it won't be that cold in D.C. Their high in D.C. on Monday will be minus 5. But I guess that is cold enough that they don't want people sitting outside for hours on end. So they're going to move it indoors. That would deny Donald Trump the sort of very big celebration outdoors that his team wanted. And it will put that ceremony on television. So apparently, though, the swearing in will happen in the Capitol Rotunda. Anyways, that's the news that's coming in about that inauguration. Let's turn our attention back home here. Business owners in Montreal's Latin Quarter, the Quartier Latin, are protesting the unexpected closure of a major intersection with less than a week's notice. Get a load of this. January 8th, business owners told, hey, on January 14th, we're closing down Saint-Denis and Ontario. Sergio de Silva is the co-owner of the Turbo House Bar. He's on the line. Sergio, welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Is this just another example of the business owners in the Quartier Latin getting the short end of the stick?
Yeah, it all becomes to be a lot when you have the problems that already exist there, and then you're not being told in a timely fashion that this major construction is being done.
And what's the impact? It happened, right? It started on the 14th. So what's the impact like for you?
Well, it's immediate. Like, I own a cafe that's right next door to the bar as well, the Cafe Big Trouble. And immediately there was a drop-off in foot traffic. Immediately there was a drop-off in business. Like, there's, nobody wants to go to a space that looks like you're going to get crushed by a cinder block.
And, I've spoken to other business owners in the Quartier Latin who said to me the holidays were rough. And they outlined a whole bunch of reasons. I want to know from your perspective, whether it's the bars, the cafe, has it been a rough period in general for the Quartier Latin?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's been a rough period in general for everybody. Mm-hmm. Less people have money, disposable income. But particularly for us, it's been very difficult. And there's a number of reasons why, but construction certainly doesn't help.
So what are you and your fellow business owners saying right now? I hear it's about 180 businesses affected by this. So what kind of united front do you have this morning?
I mean, mostly what we'd like to have is not have somebody put like a stick in our spokes every time we try to get things running. So a little bit more heads up when construction happens. Because we all know, it's infrastructure. It needs to happen. Nobody's sad that they have to replace all these things because we're smart enough to know if we don't do it now, it's going to be a problem later. But they should be smart enough to know that we have to know at least, a month in advance so we can plan accordingly. We have to be working together. Everybody wants to pull in the same direction. Everybody has the same goal. And when it seems like we're constantly at odds, it doesn't make things easy.
What have you had to do to survive? I spoke to the owner of the Saint Bach, and he was outlining the days that they've closed and the hours of the day that they've closed, and he was talking about how he used to have 86 staff, now he's down to 16. What are the kind of sacrifices and the hard decisions you've had to make?
I mean, it's all the same thing, right? If there's no hours, there's no hours. If there's no people in there, you can't. I'm personally working at the bar. I'm personally working at the cafe because, if they're not generating enough income, I can't hire staff. Recently, we've had to get rid of our insurance as well because it becomes more and more difficult to pay for the things that you need. But, at the same time, the city certainly isn't helping us out. And, we're on a street already that has its problems. There's a 23% vacancy. What should be the cultural hub of Montreal, the Quartier Latin, Quartier Spectacle, is littered with just fast food restaurants, and it doesn't really inspire people to come to the neighborhood. It looks more like an airport food court than it does, the cultural hub of Montreal.
Can I ask you? You cut your insurance? What does that mean exactly? You got rid of your insurance? How do you operate without insurance, or did you cut back on the level of insurance?
No. We're one of the only bars in the city that offered health insurance to our employees.
To your employees. Oh, my goodness.
So now,
that had to go.
Distance, which I was proud to give, I was able to afford, I was able to make work. Now, our registration now is coming up in February, and we're not going to be able to reapply because we simply can't afford it. It's another, it's about $30,000 a year that we spend on our employees so they can get, their pills, they can get their dentist, they get all this stuff. And now, because of all the constant problems that we're having in this neighborhood, we have to cut it back. Obviously, we're looking into different options, but that's, just one of the first things to go.
Jeez. What do you think that the city of Montreal is not getting? And I, by the way, I've heard from people say, I've sat down with the mayor of Montreal. She listened to the concerns. But are they not getting something? Are they in a tough spot? How do you view that side of things?
It's all connected. When, I've been on the show before to talk about La Tulipe and all these other things. Everything is part and parcel of the same problems, where there are people who are doing their best to make as much money, to get by and do well by other people. And there are others who are just happy to sort of mooch off of everything that's going on. If you look at Saint-Denis, you look at the 23% vacancy rate, those are just people who refuse to rent out their businesses unless the perfect client comes along. And that's usually a fast food restaurant. So you just end up in these perpetual problems where it could be solved by, a little less greed, a little more community action. Like I said, we're all trying to pull in the same direction. We all want what's best for the city. We all want to make this place a fun and special place to live. And when you have some people who can sort of hog all the resources and not give anything back, becomes a big issue.
Is it friendly enough to do business in downtown Montreal in the Quartier Latin? Does the city make it friendly enough to do business?
No, I mean, you're constantly jumping through hoops. Nothing is ever easy. It took me about 4 months to get a sign permit, and in the end, they gave me a 1 foot by 1 foot allocation for a sign. I was like, I might as well just put a piece of loose leaf on my window. I don't know what you want me to do with it.
1 foot by 1 foot.
Yeah,
unreal.
It's you can't. It's not very business friendly, but it's one thing to not be business friendly, but you're also not civilian friendly. You're not friendly to anybody who's here.
Yeah.
It makes it incredibly difficult to work. As a person who has to pay rent, it's incredibly high. As a person who has to run a business, it's incredibly difficult. They don't want to make it easy. And the thing is, I'm not here to beg for anything. I know what I'm doing. I'm capable of doing it. Just get out of the way, at least. If you're not going to help, get out of the way.
We'll leave it on those sage words of advice. Sergio, thanks so much for hopping on today.
No worries. Thanks again.
Sergio de Silva is the co-owner of Turbo House in the Quartier Latin.